I stay away from people, but I love everybody because I know what type of love and loyalty I bring to the table. I know my value and I know my heart. And as soon as I peep some weird energy, I'm out. Because my best form of protection is separation and distance. And I'd rather disappoint you before I disappoint myself. Simple.
Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you could serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life. Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you could serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life. Run up when you see me, no disguises. Keep that thing with me, cause I don't do surprises. J Chanel, show and tell, all facts, no lies, streak. Get your life, cause I'm the type to come to it that 9 quick. Eyes on me, what you care for? Watching me, baby, care for. If you ain't a fan, where the cameras? Hide in the back with the bellboys. My circle so restricted. Hands raised like it's your religion. When I sleep, pay close attention. Fake friends out here pretending. Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you could serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life. Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you could serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life.
Focus there.
Watch them cause they after me like a pot of gold. I'm not for play, ask Keisha if you don't know. I'm a little bit cray-cray, approach me, you better be right. If you don't come correctly, you can catch these hands tonight. Eyes on me, what you care for? Watching me, baby, care for. If you ain't a fan, why the cameras? Hide in the back with the bellboys. My circle's so restricted. Hands raised like it's your religion. When I sleep, pay close attention. Fake friends out here pretending. Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you could serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life.
Get your life.
Get your life, get your life, get your life, baby. I got mine, why you could serve my mind, baby. Feeling me, that's why they killing me, lately. Get your life.
Get your life, boo.
Good morning, good evening, good night, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your nighttime, right time DJ Music here with another episode of the Chop Shop. It is 1:39 here on the 25th of July. Just about this month is just about all the way over with, but we got a whole lot of things to cover over there. A little bit of Trump, a little bit of Obama. If you haven't heard, Obama kind of struck back a little bit against Trump. He was kind of went free in his head a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, folks, we're going to cover a few topics off and on. Let me turn down this background because I don't like to. My headphones are microphone is kind of super sensitive. So let me turn down that noise in the background. How's everyone doing? Again, you see what's on the screen over there, because we're going to top it up a little bit about that, as well as some other topics for discussion that I have brought to you. I don't really know where to start, so I'll go ahead and start right here. Again, hello to everyone, wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you so very much. You could be anywhere, especially on YouTube, listening to music or another commentary. All I ask from you is you like, share, and subscribe. If you want to be a part of the conversation, as you can see, I've turned on the subscriber mode only. Keep down some of the riffraff from coming here just saying on anything. If you're going to talk to me, you're going to subscribe to me, okay? I think that's only fair enough. Don't y'all think so? That's fair enough. So let me go ahead and take this off the screen, and let's start with our first clip of the day. Get that off. Let me roll up here. Take this off the screen. Nothing up my sleeve. Put this on the screen. Check this out.
Bro, the View talked to us about the fact that Trump is obsessed. They say, what was his obsession with you? And I thought that he handled his answer pretty well. Let's take a listen to Obama on Trump being obsessed with him.
The obsession?
The obsession.
I know what it is.
I obviously, have a room in his head.
Rent free. You do everything with grace.
A suite in his head. But first of all, when I was president, the last thing I had time to do was worry about what
Somebody said,
or what my predecessor did. If you're doing the job right, every day you've got 5, 10 things that are real hard, and you have to be constantly focused. It is a strange thing to me. It shows me somebody who's not focused on the American people and the job they're supposed to do. I believe in face-to-face. I believe.
Let's stop that right there. Is he wrong? If you have that much time to be up 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning tweeting about a former president, you're not focused on the task at hand. And that not only goes for the president of the United States, that goes for anybody. If someone has that much time and puts that much effort into saying nasty things about someone that used to work with them, works for them, or works with them, or was in a job that they used to have, what's that telling you about that person? They're more occupied about proving, to me, in this case, how much better you are than that person. And I'm sorry, if you stack it up, paper to paper, policy to policy, Trump is losing when it comes to Obama. And that's just point blank. He's absolutely correct. Hey there, Sahara. How you doing? Always a pleasure seeing you up in the front row. And he's absolutely correct. The president of the United States should not have this much time to talk about on his hands with especially all the things that's going on, a war that he created, to be talking about and tweeting about the former first lady and the former president of the United States. When did it become okay to call the former president of the United States a son of a bitch in front of other world leaders? Remember, Zahara, there was a time that Obama had on a tan suit, and they went absolutely crazy saying how unpresidential it was because of the color suit that he wore. But all you hear now is about the unpresidential stylings of Donald Trump. Crickets. That's just who he is. That's just his style. But they've criticized this man on the screen here. But let's go ahead and see what else he has to say about Trump.
In conversation. So if whoever you were talking about was in front of me, which has happened a couple times, he don't talk like that because he knows better.
It ain't never that.
And I think there is
he don't talk to me like that in front of me because he knows better. Now, some people will go back to say, well, Obama's talking tough. But, there's such a thing called decorum. So You guys had an uproar when Michelle Obama refused to go to Trump's inauguration. But y'all find it okay for Trump to say the things that he say about Obama. Y'all, you are the quintessential, as y'all call it, party of family values. But here it is, you have a president assaulting another man's wife verbally. Did not condemn the UFC fighter getting up on there and calling this woman a man. And even with all of that, style and grace, he put foot straight up Trump's ass by saying these simple words that we in the black community already know. You wouldn't say that shit to my face. And that goes a whole lot of what these keyboard warriors here on YouTube's. A lot of y'all want to get behind the screen and say, well, I feel it's my First Amendment right to say anything I want to say or use the N-word with impunity, knowing damn well that if you was in front of a black man or a black woman, that you would not use that word. How did I make a point there, Richard Swisher, that Barack Obama is trash? No, I made the point that Donald Trump is trash. And see, that's the thing about it. Even when you put it on subscriber mode, people will subscribe to you just to talk shit to you. That's the point proven right there. You had to subscribe to me, Richard, in order to put that there. And even in the face of what's going on, what I'm playing here in front of you, you still will come in here and say that Obama is trash. What about Trump is good, sir? I can give you several reasons why Donald Trump is trash. I can give you several reasons. The fact that he cheated on his wife while his wife was pregnant with his youngest son, that's trash. The fact that he was in a bus that said, hey, women, you could just walk up to any woman and grab them by the pussies. I can go to any recording of Donald Trump saying that he was behind the scenes. We know what's at these young Miss USA pageants, young girls, that he would be looking at them in all different sizes of dress and array. That's trash, sir. How's he taking care of business, Richard? Before I go any further with this, how is Donald Trump taking care of business? The Straits of Hormuz is much worse of a situation before Donald Trump went over there bombing that part of the world. He has no more control from 6, 7, 8 months ago than he does now. Actually, the Iranians have more power, and they're getting more money from Donald Trump and his regime compared to what Obama and John Kerry did. So, no, he's not keeping us from getting bombed. The United States military and the powers that be are keeping the United States safe. The military men that's on the ground, the people that's behind the scenes. It's not Donald Trump. But if you want to show a case of class there, Richard, here, let's sit back and listen to this.
That filter of the phone creates a situation both where people just say kind of crazy stuff that they would never say
with no consequences
to your face with no consequences.
Yeah.
I don't like that part, right?
Why?
Because you talk all that ish about me, but then when I see you, we kiki it up and we laughing.
I was going to say, y'all remember when people were really upset at Obama for having the little kiki moment with Donald Trump?
Okay, right there. See, that's called decorum. That's understanding the concept that the cameras are always on us. As we call it in the black community, faking the phone. I'm gonna cheese with you while these cameras on you, but you and I both know I don't like you. I don't like what you said. I don't like what you stand for. Let me ask you something, Richard. Have you ever served a day in the military? Have you ever served a day in any branch of the military? I have. So miss me with that. Have you served any time in the military? Hey there, Candy Cane Lane. How you doing? Always a pleasure having you up in the front row. Well, you should even be more mad at Trump then. If you're a disabled vet, you should be even more upset with Trump than you are over here trying to cover for him. Look what he's trying to take away from the veterans. Look what he said about vets. Look what he said about the disabled vets, that he didn't want y'all in front of him. Remember that incident to where they was doing some kind of press conference, and he said he didn't want vets in wheelchairs sitting in front of him and on beside of him. Do you remember that, Richard? Obama would have never said that. And you're a disabled vet? You should be leading the charge against Trump, sir. And I'll ask you this. If you honestly was in the military right now, the thing goes, we both know this. You have the duty to refuse any unlawful order. Am I correct, Richard? But remember, Pete Hegseth and the Trump crew was trying to convince the military that to do some completely things against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. You sure you want to come in here and talk to me, Richard? Are you sure? I don't understand that either, 504. I don't understand why they try to compare what's going on from 10 years ago. There's been Trump, there's been Biden, and there's been Trump. Okay? I don't know why these folks would love to go back in time and compare what's going on now when there was prosperity. You can argue that point all you want to. You can talk about, it's a fair assessment if you want to talk about some of the failed policies of the Obama era. It's a fair assessment if you want to talk about the failed policies of the Trump era. It's a fair assessment if you want to talk about the failed policies of the Biden era. Those are all up for grabs. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about one man disrespecting another man. That's what it boils down to. And what they both have in common is they both used to be or is the president of the United States. That's the only comparison that you folks can draw, because nothing that went on 10 years from now should be affecting you. According to y'all, since Trump is such this great president, nothing Obama did should be affecting you at all. None of y'all should be on, as y'all call it, Obamacare, the ACA, the Affordable Health Care Act, that y'all want to tag as Obamacare, although it's been around long before that. But let's continue.
Is it fair? He's saying, well, that's because when I see him in person, things are completely different. Is that a fair take? Is that fair of a take for him to have?
Is that a fair take for him to have?
Yes.
That is a good question.
I'm too petty for that.
Because
I couldn't do it, and I love that Michelle Obama chooses to not do it.
Yeah, there's parts of me that when I hear that, I'm like, so what you mean? Y'all gonna fight?
Nah, but I'm not gonna sit there and laugh with you and key with you. It's gonna be so cold, you're not gonna want to talk.
Like
to
you
me.
can't even say.
Okay, these are one of the questions I was wondering when somebody was going to type this. So Home Slice, let me go ahead and say this. Oh, you said Obama wasn't the first president, the first mixed president, white mother. What difference does it make? What difference does it make of his ethnic background? What difference does it make? Home Slice. Does it say when you're eligible for the presidency, does it say you can't be of mixed race, or does it give a strict criteria of how old you have to be, where you have to be from? It doesn't say you got to be all black or all white. It doesn't say that you can't be of Chinese heritage. It says you have to be 35 years old. Right? It also says you have to be a citizen of this country. That's it. So what difference does his race make? No, you don't hear me say the first black president. That's an argument that you folks like you, no disrespect, like to bring up. That's my argument when I see that. What difference does the color of his skin make? If we talk about fairness and playing by the rules, the Constitution does not mix in skin color at all, does it? Does it? Home slice. What's up there, M. Mister? How you doing? Good to welcome in. Welcome in. Let's continue.
Come to me.
Right.
I just don't feel like Donald Trump would have a problem saying anything to him.
Anyway. Even if you know.
And
you
by the
don't
way,
like
he's by the way, Donald Trump just looking for a reason to lock up one of his political opponents anyway.
Yeah,
so all the power is on Trump's side. So I just didn't understand what he meant unless he was talking about the kiki they had at the Carter funeral. But to me, that goes both ways. You kikiing in his face too. Because by the way, Trump been saying wild stuff about you, bro.
Crazy about my wife and all that.
And your wife.
Nah, it's
been saying wild stuff about you and your wife, but you was just right there kikiing with him at the President Carter's funeral. So I can say it goes both ways. Don't neither one of y'all be having that energy in each other's face.
To these stupid motherfuckers.
Talked about my wife, the way you talked about everything.
Okay. Now, again, if you look at the history of Trump, he talks about everybody. So let's take that back to some of his staunch supporters right now. Let's take it back to Marco Rubio. What did he say about Marco Rubio's family? Let's take it back to Ted Cruz. What did he say about Ted Cruz's family? Let's take it back to so many of those people that he talked bad either about their wife or them as weak leaders or incompetent. Why don't y'all talk about that, Breakfast Club? Why is that not part of this conversation? If you want to call out somebody cheesy, you can't get no more cheesier than Ted Cruz. You can't get no more cheesier than Mitch McConnell. You can't get no more cheesier than Byron Donalds. You can't get no more cheesier than what's the other one? Hey, it's Fat Albert looking kind of guy. Tim Scott. The list goes on. Marjorie Taylor Greene. You can't get no more cheesier than her. The list goes on of folks that Donald Trump has talked about in their face. In their face, on public stage. Matter of fact, there was just an incident just yesterday where they had some arguments in the Senate about this War Powers Resolution Act. And he came out and talked shit about outgoing senator, but that's funny. Y'all won't call out these senators that won't stand up to Trump, but you're quick to call out Obama for not saying or not and getting in the mud with Trump. Wonder why. Breakfast Club.
Nah, it's SMD when you see me. It is what it is.
I mean, you like that anyway. That's a good time to you. But that's why the first lady didn't go
What's up there, Tyrone Church? How you doing, my man? Good to see you. Welcome in.
to the funeral.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because she didn't
She was
want to.
very
She didn't
open
want to. She
about
didn't
it.
want to do the fake stuff.
I re- and I
So when I
respect
heard President Obama say that, I'm like, well, the same thing can be said for you. Don't none of y'all be having that same energy. Like we saw President Biden say, "Welcome home" to Donald Trump. Like so, it's just like, what are y'all? I didn't understand that part. Like that just sounds like something slick to say on the podcast.
He don't remember what he be
sound like he
saying.
was
though.
Biden.
Joe Biden don't be remember what he be saying.
I ain't
Joe
talking about Biden. I'm
Biden.
talking about
We're
Obama.
talking about Obama.
Obama sound like he.
So let me get this straight, Charlamagne. And see, this is the problem with putting Yasser bosses like this in front of cameras. And that's exactly what I'm going to call you. Instead of you saying the brother showed his decorum, the brother showed restraint, the brother spoke articulate, although he spoke facts, you're going to say, well, why you ain't run up on him? Why you didn't check him? This is the problem with listening to Yasser bosses like this. And Stephen A. Smiths of the world, what they would have done. A bunch of what they would have done yassa bosses. If that was me, kind of nigga. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Because in the black community, we see folks like Charlemagne every day. Every day of what they would have done if they was there. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Homie kind of niggas. Like Charlemagne.
You said Biden said welcome home, I thought. You said Biden said welcome home.
Yeah, he said Biden
said
welcome
he don't be
home.
remember what he be saying. Yeah, Biden don't know what
I don't know what you're talking about right now. You know what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm
I thought I got it, and then he just confused me.
He said Biden said welcome home.
I said none of them be keeping that same energy when they see each other. But then I went back to Obama and I said, when I see Obama on all the smoke,
I get what you're saying.
it just sounds like he was podding. Because don't none of them be having that same energy when they see each other.
Yeah. I think that's the politics, but I was surprised to hear him say that though, because he got a lot of smoke when he had that little moment with Donald Trump, and to me it sounded like he was responding to people who had an issue with that, like, oh well, he don't keep the same energy, so
but neither do you. That's what I'm saying. It sounds good on a podcast.
So what would you like for them? What would you like this 60-some-year-old man and this 78-year-old man to do, Charlemagne? Duke it out? Maybe go on a podcast? Maybe call up what's your boy's name? DJ Hamp, and see if they can arrange a boxing match, a geriatric boxing match. Would that be good enough for you? Hey there, Carol Brown. Welcome in. Thank you very much. Let's see. Leonard has, what's her name? Monique called him Leonard. You see, I happen to know a whole lot more about Leonard than I'm letting on, folks. I know where you come from. I know where you started at. One thing, Leonard, you cannot deny about me. I know South Carolina because I'm from here. Some of them same hollows that you lived in, I was there. I was around. I know about Monk's Corner. I know about Goose Creek. I know about Hanahan. I know where you started from. I know what radio station you started from as a do-boy for the DJs. As a go-get-it boy for the DJs. I know everything about you. Leonard.
Okay, it goes viral. But when you really take a step back and look at it, don't none of y'all be having that same energy for each other when you see each other. That's what be confusing us, because we be like, all of us. Well, damn, I thought this was the big bad boogeyman.
But
like,
and that's
you
what
telling
made
us this guy's a threat to democracy, and which I believe he is, but still.
That's
okay. If you believe that, then why would you even join in the three-ring circus? You can't have it both ways. And here's another I don't know what this y'all with this shorthand coming in here. Listen, I'm a grown man. If you're gonna talk to me, stop with all this shorthand shit. Articulate yourself. Tony F. 2500. Articulate yourself. What is this? IMO BYDM in Obama. Oh, you're trying to say IMO Biden and Obama literally tried to put the great country under. In what way? In what faction? Tony F. How? If you look at the historical, as y'all like to say, empirical data, you look at for every Democratic president there was a time of prosperity. And you can go back in history and see that for yourself. But under the Republican presidencies, like the Bushes, like Trump, they've either extended the deficits by trillions of dollars or damn near bankrupt the country. Now, you don't have to believe me. You can go to your local Google or whatever you like to type in to get your information from. I suggest you go to the library so you can read about it and take that time to clear your head, because when you folks is on the internet, y'all get distracted by the commercial that's over in the corner. So some of y'all really do need to go to the library, pick up a book and read. Because when you come in here, you got to have your ducks in a row. But this comment, what's this CHIPS Science Act? What is the infrastructure bill? What is all of that? If they were trying to put the country under, Tone, Now tell me, in contrast, what has Trump done to revive the country since you said Biden tore it down? What has Trump done to revive the country other than sue the American public for how much? Because we got to peek at his taxes? How much? How much is that slush fund that he want to pay the insurrectionists that went to the what y'all considered sacred hollow ground, pissed, shit, and stole, pillaged? The only thing they left out was grape. Name me one thing that Trump has done to better your life in the last year. We're going to get to that in a little while because I figured there'd be some Trump supporters that come in here. So somebody that looks like y'all from another part of the world asked these same questions that I'm going to ask. And just like y'all, you're down there in the chat room trying to scramble to find at least one thing Trump did good. All I can tell you is good luck with that.
That's why I said you never know. They probably be chilling. All these politics, politicians be chilling behind closed doors. They probably be cutting up or whatever. Like they probably cool.
I don't think they chilling with Trump, but I don't know. You ain't gonna be talking about me, and then I see each other. Then we
y'all was key-keying. Y'all was having a good key at President Carter's funeral. That was a key.
I'm good.
Even Kamala looked back and you stopped talking because you know you ain't have no business talking in that church.
When you get in trouble.
Okay. All right.
All the smoke. They talked to Obama about what the View talked to us about the fact that Trump is obsessed. They say
key they had at the Carter funeral, but to me that goes both ways. You keying in his face too. Understand that part? Like that just sounds like something slick to say on the podcast.
He don't remember what he.
That just sounds like something to slick to say on the podcast. No, that just sounds like you're just trying to boost your ratings there, Charlamagne. You're trying to hope that you can go viral by saying something against the Obamas because you know black people in general won't allow that. Y'all have to be careful with this bait and shit and switch shit that's going on. Let me say something so egregious that I'll be in the news trying to defend this. I get to go on all these different podcasts trying to defend what I said. And then what I'll do is I'll offer up my humble apologies, saying that I didn't mean what I said, or my comments was taken out of context. Let me explain. Then you go on your what they call it, as I like to call it, nigga-splaining tour. To anybody who will listen, usually over there on Fox News, with your ton of makeup on, looking like somebody slapped you with some lard and shined up your face. Leonard, see, I know about you. I'm from South Carolina. I know about the area that you live in, backwater town. They used to have one fire hydrant that all the local dogs didn't have nowhere to piss. They all had to gather around that one fire hydrant. The Greyhound made door-to-door stops at your neighborhood. Hey, Leonard, this your house? The gas station sold jeans and gas. That's the small town that you grew up in, sir.
Joe Biden don't be remember what he be saying.
Joe Biden. We talking about Obama.
Obama sound like he was.
You said Biden said welcome home. I thought you said Biden said welcome home.
Yeah, he said Biden.
That's what said he don't be remember what he be saying. Yeah, Biden don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about right now. You understand what I'm?
I thought I got it, and then he just confused me.
He said Biden said welcome home.
I said none of them be keeping that same energy when they see each other. But then I went back to Obama and I said, when I see Obama on all the smoke,
I get what you're saying.
It just sounded like he was podding. Because don't none of them be having that same energy when they see each other.
Yeah. I think that's the politics, but I was surprised to hear him say that though, because he got a lot of smoke when he had that little moment with Donald Trump, and to me it sounded like he was responding to people who had an issue with that, like, oh well, he don't keep the same energy, so
but neither do you. That's what I'm saying. It sounds good on a podcast, okay? It goes viral, but when you really take a step back and look at it, don't none of y'all be having that same energy for each other when you see each other. That's what be confusing us, because we be like,
all of us.
Well, damn, I thought this was the big bad boogeyman.
But
Like,
see, and that's
you
what
telling
made
us this
me.
guy's a threat to democracy, which I believe he is, but still.
That's why I said you never know. They probably be chilling. All these politics, politicians be chilling behind closed doors. They
I don't
probably
think they
be
chilling
cutting
with
up
him.
or whatever. Like they probably cool.
I don't think
that
they
we
chilling
know.
with Trump, but I
don't know.
You ain't gonna be talking
You
about
just
me, and then
never
I see
know.
each other. Then we
Y'all was key-keying. Y'all was having a good
I'm
key at
Yeah.
President Carter's funeral. That was a key.
I'm good.
Even Kamala looked back and you stopped talking because you know you ain't had no business talking in that church.
When you get in trouble.
Okay? All right.
All the smoke. They talked.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, it just goes to show you that even in positions of that where you reach millions and millions of people every day, you still can't listen to a whole lot of people. You can't pay attention to chicks like this and dudes like Charlemagne. And I hate to say it, DJ Envy was the only one, even though it was kind of out of pocket a little, but the only one that made sense. These two acting like they're speaking about someone who's just the average Joe like me and you. You think if Obama was to speak out loud what he really thought of Trump, that would not make world news? Honestly, think about that honestly for a minute. Given what we now know that Trump has said about or done to or posted about Barack Obama, he always refers to the man as Barack Hussein Obama. Why? This was the guy that said he was not born in the United States, although I don't know how dumb you got to be to think Hawaii is not in the United States. And then you got people coming here saying, well, his mama was white. So he wasn't all black. So when Bill Clinton was in office, he wasn't nowhere close to being black. But a lot of y'all nominated him as the first black president because he went on Arsenio Hall show and played the saxophone. That's what it says, Amanda. That's what it says on the Statue of Liberty. And you know how many Hollywood movies has been based on that particular setting of immigrants coming to this country for the very first time and then passing through the New York harbor and looking at the Statue of Liberty, and all of a sudden the camera pans in on just them words. I don't think many immigrants think that way to this day. But let me say something about the immigration, folks. You know, you hear a lot of people saying, I heard someone saying today, and I don't mind calling them out. Someone sent me a link to Cellulite's podcast. And he was over there saying that the country is in such great shape because of Trump, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. Why black people complain about this and blah, about that. They talking about black people gambling and all this other stuff, but they don't got money for this. They don't got money for that. I don't understand how you can say that you came up around moderate parents and moderate Democrats and have these same views, Cellulite. So I don't mind calling you out on this one. This is the problem that we're having in our community. The folks that look like us, that are the most loudest. Folks like Charlemagne, folks like you, Cellulite, folks like Angry Man. You did everything that you could to tear down that Anthony family. You put that young kid and de-emasculated him in front of the world, as far as you were concerned. But you didn't see nothing wrong with that. You didn't see absolutely nothing wrong with saying that this kid would be summarily raped once he got into jail. The lack of the lack of moral compass in this generation to view folks that's 35, 40, it astounds me. Is there ain't shitness in the black community? Of course it is. But one thing, the difference between me and folks that came before me, we didn't put it out in the street like that. We didn't tear down our own communities. We acknowledged the fact that there was some fucked up shit going in it. But we didn't take it to the folks that didn't look like us and profit off of it. Unlike you, Angry Man. Unlike you, Cellulite. I listened to your podcast this morning, and you spent more time trying to defend your bullshit rhetoric than you talked about it. The majority of folks that came to your platform today was not there to support you. They were there to tell you how wrong you were. But you didn't see that. All you called them was just typical niggas coming over there trying to defend Carmelo Anthony. You, Charlemagne the Gods, don't mind shitting in the black community. But as soon as you need some help from it, please help me. Please come save us. Andy Griffith, damn, you went way back with that one, Amanda. Well, let's go on to our next thing. Now, let's talk about Trump supporters, because a lot of y'all folks like to come in. We already gave the little contrast, and we see how Obama addresses the public. You see how he talks to the public. You see how his mannerisms are and how he articulates, and also folks that support Obama. We try to articulate ourselves. We try to say, no, we know the man's not perfect. But we also can give you direct policies of what he tried to do while he was in office. Keeping in mind, the entire 8 years that he was in office, he was under a divided Congress. He didn't have all three branches of government in his pocket as Trump does. Still not getting shit done. So here we go. Let's look at this.
Loving Trump's work, and
what's your favourite bit?
Well, all of it, but I think what
your favourite bit. What's the thing he's done that you love the most?
You said you bumped into Boris yourself.
Come on, mate. I just asked you a question. You said cards on the table. You said cards on the table, but you're not letting me look at your cards. That's an odd way of playing.
Because I want to just cut to the chase, Boris.
No, cards on the table. What's the thing Trump's done that you love the most?
4 callers. 4 different reasons for backing Donald Trump. Each one came unsure of themselves. One said cards on the table, then couldn't show a single card.
And that's
another spent an hour.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Thank you very much. I'm kind of blushing a little bit on that one, but there it is. That's what you say to the Trump supporters. Put your cards on the table. Even when they were talking about former Vice President Harris, put your cards on the table. So I'll ask the question again. If you were an employer of a Fortune 500 company, now that we got three resumes. You don't know who the resumes are. All you see is the names. It's easy to decipher that Barack Obama is probably a black man, right? So we're going to eliminate him just for shits and giggles. But now let's put Kamala Harris and Donald Trump in there, but not put their names on it. Okay? Not decide whether one's male or female. Only you're going to look at their credentials. Who would you hire? Exhibit A, which is Harris, or Exhibit B, which is Trump? From facts that you could easily go look up about these two candidates. You know which one is which, but the person that's hiring don't know which is which. And thank you as well there, 504. Again, folks, I don't ask for donations. If you would like to donate to the channel, you can go over to Autism Speaks and type in DJ Stevie Music and say, hey, I'd like to make a donation in his honor. Or you could even do me a little bit more of a favor. I'm building an internet radio stations that I've been working on for the last 12, 13 years. We play great music over there, and I'm trying to take some of the commentary that I do here over to the radio station. So if you're going to subscribe to the radio station, tune in, put me up in the algorithms over there. That's all I ask from you. Or like us, share, and subscribe to content here if you like it. If the Midas Touch can do it, so can we, right, folks? Now I forgot my train of thought. But anyway, let's go.
Condemning socialism without knowing what it means. And the last one didn't even try to hide it. Watch how fast certainty falls apart when you actually ask why.
Because he is a man of his word.
What's he done that you love the most?
Pardon?
What's he done that you love the most? You said, I'm loving his work. So what's the act of...
Because he's a politician who tends to, unlike here,
yes,
do what he says.
Yeah, so what's he done? Well, what's the thing he's done? What's the act of work he's done?
Not in tune with the American politics.
Cards on the table, I love his work. Give me one example of the work that you love. Over to you, Alex.
Balls of steel. Okay.
No, but you're going to have to answer it before we carry on, because it's cards on the table, Alex. It's your own words, mate.
Because he's very much like Boris. He's a cad, he's a rogue, he's always...
No, but we know all that. You said you love his work. You said cards on the table, I love his work. So show me one card. They're on the table, Alex.
What I'm trying to say to you is he's a politician, but he's not the normal politician.
Cards on the table, Alex. Just show me one of those cards that you said in that really, really upbeat way. Cards on the table, James. I love his work. So show me one card.
James.
One card.
James.
One card.
Some people voted Brexit, others didn't. And
one card, Alex.
Carry on.
One card.
I'm not with James.
One card.
Again, where's the card? Can anybody drop one card? Can anybody drop a king of diamonds, a queen, or an ace in favor of Trump? If we were playing spades, you'd have a shitty hand when it came to Trump. You wouldn't have very many face cards. You'd probably get swept. Again, throughout his entire life, if you was betting on Trump, you would have lost. If you bet on the USFL to make it, you would have lost. If you would have took a degree from Trump University, it's invalid. It's no good. If you was eating Trump steaks, you probably got botulism. If you was a recipient of any of Trump's so-called foundations, you never got the money. If you worked for Trump, you never got paid. All documented. Someone came in and asked me how they said that Trump, how is Trump trash? I'm telling you how he's trash. Because imagine you as a landscaper, or imagine you as a contractor, you went and did all this business for Trump. And when it was time to get your money, he took you to court because he didn't want to pay you. And you got other people that's dependent on them paychecks. And you can't pay your employees because Trump don't want to pay you for the last job. Or how about this? You build a reflecting pool. You give it to, you outsource it to someone that has no idea of what they're doing. But then again, that's someone that's connected to you. So ask me, how is Trump trash? You don't want to see it. It's there. You choose to overlook it. And we're not even talking about politics. We're talking about back in the 1970s, how he was directed. He told all his folks that worked for him, when it came to apartments, put a C on it. Back then in the 70s, they were still calling black folks colored. Never understood that. But that was the indication of black people trying to rent in his apartment. You know where it went? If you're in the military, what I'm about to say is file 13. Sued by the government, proved that what they were doing was racially biased. These are facts. There's nothing I said that was made up. Go look at what happened to the USFL. Go look at what happened to Trump Steaks. Go look at what happened to Trump University. And when you ask them for facts, all you get is a bunch of psychobabble, as my pops used to say, idle chatter. Listen.
I'm not with you, James. I'm trying to just.
I love his work. Cards on the table. Give me one example of the work that you love.
So much work because James.
So much work. So much work. It'll be really easy to give me one example.
No. Everybody in London voted for him. Remember?
Nobody in London voted for Donald Trump.
You hear that? The argument got to everybody in London voted for him. They get so caught up in trying to prove Donald Trump is right, they don't even hear them own self speak. Everybody in London voted for Donald Trump. Oh, yeah, he did. Everybody in London voted for Trump. And Amanda, that's hard to argue, because if he was not the president of the United States and so-called running the country, and I just ran off the list of things that you said to me and you, if you and I knew each other on a personal level and you was looking for somebody to do some business for you, and I sent you Donald Trump, wouldn't you be upset with me later on, or anybody else? If I sent you Donald Trump as a reliable businessman, wouldn't y'all be upset at the shit that y'all found out about him? Let me do my own research about this guy that you sent me. Wouldn't y'all be upset about him? I mean, actual and factual. Shit that you can find out on your own. Y'all wouldn't find me very reliable, would you? You wouldn't come to me for business advice anymore, would you? I don't think you would.
Trump. Give me one example of the work he's done that you love, Alex.
People voted for Boris, remember?
Cards on the table, Alex. Cards on the table, Alex. Show me a card.
I'm just not that in tune with American politics to give you a definite answer, but I'm trying to say Boris.
So
if you're not in tune with American politics, why would you even pick up the phone to call? Huh? Or is it, you got your head over in that part of the world across the big pond? Do you got your head stuck that far up out of Donald Trump's ass that you don't even know about American politics, but you're calling over on a phone trying to defend something that you don't know? Does that make sense? What's the word? Cult. What's the word? Cult. That's what you call that. A cult.
You said cards on the table. What you meant was, I don't even know whether I'm playing Snap or poker.
No, I'm trying to say to you, Boris, you have to embrace what he is. And people voted for him, right or wrong. He is a bit of a clown. He's everything you said he is. And I think he orchestrated this leakage. I think a friend of that recorded that. It was all done on purpose and construed to make a lot of media interest and chaos talking about Boris. And remember, when he went on the Marr show talking about Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe, he inadvertently spilled the beans of his MI6, MI5 briefings straight out to Marr.
No, he didn't know now. So, you see, not only have you made a complete cretin of yourself, you've also just libelled the Foreign Secretary.
Why not? Everyone else does.
No, mate. You see, cards on the table, Alex. You're a clown.
On Trump, and I know you can talk about, he's the only politician that actually does what he said when he's in this campaign.
What's he done that he said he was going to do?
Cards on the table. He's a clown. What's up there, HT Ball One? How you doing, good brother? That's caller number one. Let's see what caller has to say about all of Trump's great policies. Let's see.
Well, he said he was going to build a border.
Has he built a wall?
He hasn't built it yet.
Right, so what's he done that he said he was going to do?
He hasn't built it yet. He hasn't built the wall yet. But remember, folks, that's what he ran on. Build that wall. Build that wall. Y'all remember that in his first term? That was the campaign slogan. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be so beautiful. There's going to be any walls like it. They won't be able to. It's going to be so high that they won't be able to get over it. Remember that in his first term? Where the walls at? They fixed up some pre-existing portions of the wall. Billions and billions and millions of dollars. Where the wall at?
He's bringing in protected things to protect the American steel industry.
He's doing what?
He's trying to bring in
the tariffs.
Tariffs and
Yeah,
everything
you've seen that Harley Davidson is moving production out of America as a.
Again, more countries are moving again out of the country because of the stupid tariffs that Donald Trump convinced America that they wasn't going to pay for. Y'all know what tariffs are, don't you? Some of y'all must not have done have gone to either grade school. What did they call that? What's that in between high school? Junior high or high school. Because those are things that you should learn in any social studies or civics class. What are tariffs? But Donald Trump and his cronies convinced the whole of America that they weren't going to pay for the tariffs.
The result of the tariff battle.
Yes, I saw that in today's paper.
Did he say that was going to happen in the election?
No, he didn't.
Right. So it's the wall that hasn't been built yet, and the tariffs that are seeing American manufacturers move out of America.
I'm not a fan of Trump. Don't get me
Well, don't come on and tell me he's the only politician that delivers in his what he said he was going to deliver in his campaign. Did he say anything about becoming the world's child catcher in chief? Can you remember him saying that during the campaign?
No.
No, me neither.
Trump, I'm indifferent to him. He does lie, but he stops the worst alternative and he frustrates the worst alternative. I'd include you in that.
Okay.
So it sounds a little bit childish, but I think people, they do need to step back and think, why do I feel the way that I do? A lot of it is social conditioning, and it is a chance to kick the other side.
And he's absolutely right. Unbeknownst to him, he said the quiet part out loud. It is social conditioning. It is the media. It is the people that you're around that lead you to believe, i.e., they get you to the first stages of that cult, to believe what Donald Trump is doing and what Donald Trump is telling you is correct. He already accomplished part of it. He convinced Marco Rubio, what's his name? He convinced all these people that he talked shit on in this first administration that they're friends with him. He did that part already. The next part was to convince the majority of the American public, even though in the voting against Hillary Clinton, he won the popular vote by how much? The Electoral College spoke. So far.
But then we're back to football. Why are we on different sides? I would stick up for your wife when she was being attacked by racists.
Well, so would I.
Well, I know you would. So why are we on? Why do you think we're on different sides then?
Because of the way you've been socially, the way you've been brought up, the people you met, the people who've influenced you, etc. The same with me, you know.
No, I'm anti-racist, and you've got an Asian wife. So what are the two sides you're talking about?
The left and the right, I would say. I mean, to me,
I don't know what that means really, because
okay, let me speak on something else here, folks. A lot of times you hear people say, "I can't be racist" or "I can't be prejudiced" based on who you're married to. That's bullshit. Yes, you can be. Prime example, go look at Clarence Thomas. Go look where he came from and to the person that he is. He may not be, well, in this case, Clarence Thomas can be considered a racist. This is one time I will tell you, I will agree with anyone that say that a black man can be racist. Clarence Thomas is the quintessential black racist because he can decide policies. He can decide where we live, how we live, and why we live. That's what a racist can do, not someone that's prejudiced. And Amanda, that's good. That's the thing about it is you got to be active in your community. It starts where you live, folks. If you once you get to the presidential election, we should have had people already in place that think like you, all the way up to the president, from your school boards. They affect a lot of what's going on around you. They make a lot of policies that affect, especially you with school-age children. Then move on up to the local state level. Then move on up to the state level. And every state in the union has a capital. There's a state house in every state of the union. They have a number to it. You have a problem, you should call it. Your senators have a 202 number that you can call directly. I don't know how soon they'll get back to you. 202 is DC area, right? But so far, Trump supporter number 2 hasn't said anything that the rest of y'all don't come in here and say. Nothing.
You know, I'm probably more critical of Jeremy Corbyn at the moment than I am of anybody in the Conservative Party. So,
what about the points-based system for immigration? To me, that's common sense. What's that to you?
It can be common sense, but it doesn't really stand up to scrutiny in the context of the economic impact of immigration. And of course, we could already have introduced rules regarding what financial means and what work you had in place before we left the European Union. So that for me is a red herring, but I don't mean that to be dismissive. It just doesn't actually, under proper scrutiny, make sense. And Australia has a points-based immigration, and people like your wife would be subjected to even more racism there than they could potentially be here. But I don't.
And that's another great point. Over here, maybe he don't know it, but you know, brown folks are getting rounded up. If you was paying attention to the Senate hearings today, what's his name, Mark Wayne Mullen. Since Trump has taken office, within the last couple of months, there's been over 50-some deaths in these detention camps, unexplained. The conditions are horrible. Every politician that's visited one of these centers all come back with the same thing. The conditions are horrible. And here we are, we don't want to compare ourselves to what was going on in the 30s, 35s. We don't want to compare to what's going on now here to what's going on when folks was getting rounded up over there and placed in, you know, as they call them, concentration camps. Sure, they're not putting them in them chambers, you know. But when you got to wait 2 months for your medication, especially if it's life-saving medication, what's the difference? When you're pregnant and you don't see proper prenatal care, what's the difference? What is the difference? What's up there, ABT? How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you as always, sitting up in the front row.
Understand why you use the word sides, and I understand why you reach for left and right. Yep. But I don't know who you think is on the other side when it comes to sticking up for people like your wife.
I think it's people with.
What about that breaking point poster, which was supposed to make us frightened of people coming here from the Middle East, regardless of whether they had any right to be here or not? Which side were you on with that?
With people coming to, I disagree with it. One of the things.
What, with the poster?
The government.
Did you disagree with the poster? Because the reason I despise that poster.
I disagree with the poster. Yeah.
Okay, but you think you're on the other side to me?
I think that the government have got lots to answer for with immigration, because what they did is, and I think Angela Merkel did this as well, she said, right, let's open the floodgates, but they did nothing to encourage integration.
Well, we've got a mayor of London here who's a Muslim. You phoned me up to tell me that you're on the other side politically to me. You can't get much more integrated than being elected mayor of a country's capital city, and Donald Trump has chosen to attack him. So whose side are you on in that conversation?
Well, I would say that the mayor of London should be concerned with the events of London.
So would I, but that's not what I asked. I asked whose side are you on in that context? The fully integrated son of an immigrant, or the racist American president?
I don't particularly like Sadiq Khan, and Donald Trump kicks him, so he suits my purpose.
So you're on the side of the racist, against the Asian?
No, I'm on the side of the guy who's against the other guy whose policies I disagree with. But
No,
I
it's
think
nothing to do with policies. We're talking about Donald Trump's personal attack on Sadiq Khan shortly after saying people should integrate more and pointing out that Sadiq Khan's parents came here from overseas. You can't get much more integrated than being elected mayor. He's Asian. He's been the victim of attacks from Donald Trump that have never been inflicted.
And again, go ahead and hit him where it hurts, bro. Every one of Donald Trump's wife is a what? Hit him where it hurts. Stop being nice. Donald Trump ain't being nice. Isn't that what Charlemagne the God said? Isn't that what Charlemagne the God just said? You got so much to say. So that would have been the first thing I said to Trump. I would have said to Trump, wait a minute. How dare you talk about immigration when all three of your past wives are immigrants, including the one that you have, or two of the past wives, and including the one that you have, came from different parts of the world. Isn't that the pot calling the ghetto black 504? Isn't it? You're so hell-bent against immigration, but you got three wives that immigrated to this country. As a matter of fact, your family immigrated to this country, Trump.
Upon a non-Asian.
And vice versa.
Sadiq Khan has attacked Donald Trump for being far right, mate, and he is. I mean, that's just a statement of record. He sympathises with the Ku Klux Klan.
See, I think
he bans Muslims. Is your wife a Muslim, or is she an Asian of a different religion?
No, she's an Asian, actually, who gets a hard time from the Muslims. I don't want to go into the details.
No, fine, but that's that. What side are you on? The side of the Asian, or the side of the man attacking the Asian?
I'm on the side of I'm on the side of the guy who's frustrating the guy whose policies I disagree
Yeah, so you don't care whether he's fouling or not. You're just glad that the other bloke's getting hurt.
That's Charlemagne the God. That's exactly this is what I'm talking about. Y'all don't care really about policy. All y'all want to see Donald Trump act like a tough guy. No matter whether it's here in this part of the world or across the pond. All y'all want to see is Donald Trump act like a tough guy. And that goes back to my statement. That's why so many of United States American white men heroes are gangsters, thugs, murderers, gypsies, tramps, and thieves. Look for yourself. Look how many documentaries have been done about Billy the Kid, Al Capone. We still talk about Jimmy Hoffa. So, Don Rotissi, before you came in here just to tell me to shut up. So you subscribe to my channel just to type in here, shut up. Really? Don Rotisserie? Why don't you make like a chicken and go over there and turn on this one here? Anyway.
You know what? I think it's got down to as basic as that, James.
I do. I can't believe your honesty, but you're not.
Okay.
You're not in any way embarrassed by it.
It's just the way we are as people.
So he's he's a liar. He's a liar and a racist, but he's hurting Sadiq Khan, so I like him. I think is what you've said.
Sadiq Khan, contrary to what Donald Trump says, is big and bad enough to be able to take.
That's not the point, though. I just want to be clear that I've understood you correctly. Donald Trump is a liar, and he's a racist, and he stokes up the sort of feelings that could see your wife being victimised. But you're on his side because he's hurting Sadiq Khan, who you don't like for whatever reason.
If Donald Trump frustrates what I believe to be the detriment of our society, yes.
And the detriment of our society is people not integrating, which is why you don't like Sadiq Khan, who got himself elected mayor of our capital city.
Sadiq Khan is Labour, and he doesn't understand basic economics. Looking at the performance of Labour governments over the years, it would be disastrous.
You're jumping around again, aren't you?
Not really.
Well, you are, because we're talking about the words that you've said. Why do you like Donald Trump in the context of a battle with Sadiq?
I didn't say I like Donald Trump.
All right,
I said
you talked about sides. Yeah, but you talked about sides.
Yeah, I do. And I think that's what it's come down to.
No, I think you're right.
We can talk about policy.
No, I think we can't talk about policies in a conversation about Donald Trump versus Sadiq Khan, because Donald Trump's impact upon, and also Sadiq Khan has incredible.
Okay, let me address this comment here. Barton Bella, let me ask you something. What is this country really founded on? What was the main other than "Don't Tread on Me"? What was the main rallying cry for the 13 original colonies? No taxation without representation. Am I correct? So think and put yourself modern day times now, that you contribute billions and billions and billions of dollars. This is just an actual fact. What the undocumented alien contributes to this country on a yearly basis. You contribute billions and billions and billions of dollars, but you can't vote, and you have no access to public benefits. So who's getting arrested? Why would you go to a voting booth where you know you can't vote? Why does folks say that about illegal aliens or undocumented aliens? They can't vote. They can get an ID card. But when you go to the voting, and they scan your ID card, they scan that card for a reason. That lets you know that whether you're eligible to vote or not. Just like they can, when the police stops you and you hand them an ID and not a driver's license, the policeman will say, hey, this is an ID. That does not give you permission to drive. And the same thing when you go to a voting booth. This, because you have an ID, that does not give you permission to vote. Bella? Of course. Don't you think so? So let's go back to the original colonies. No taxation without representation. If that was a rallying cry for these illegal, undocumented aliens that pay billions and billions of dollars into the American economy, if we got rid of them, how would that affect the American economy? We can see it already. I can tell you in one way, the price of vegetables, especially fresh vegetables during this time of year, has gone up. You see places like Florida, South Carolina, and Georgia, where you used to go and see, like down here in South Carolina, they have peach orchards all over the place. This is the time of the year a lot of people start harvesting peaches. Well, guess what? The fields ain't got them this year. So a lot of that fruit is going to end up being what? Unpicked and rotten. Unsold. Because why? They don't have the manpower to pick it. That's one automatic effect of Donald Trump's immigration. Nobody to pick it. So what they do pick, you got to pay more for when you go to the grocery store. Let's talk common sense. Let's not talk about feelings. Let's talk about what we actually see on a day-to-day basis. Ain't that right, Amanda? Let's talk about what we see on a day-to-day basis when each one of us go to the grocery store, when each one of us goes to the gas pump, when each one of us has to pay our medical health premiums or whatever, insurance or whatever. Tell me it hasn't gone up since Donald Trump's taken office. Or tell me, if you're a senior citizen, that you haven't lost some benefits that you had 3 or 4 years ago. Tell me if you're a veteran, the lines aren't longer when you try to go to the VA hospital. Tell me if you're not a black man or a black woman, that the unemployment rate has gone up exponentially since Donald Trump took office. To the tune of 6.7 for black women, 7.8 for black men. Someone came into the chat room the other day and said, well, Biden only got it down to 4.3. He got it down. So let's go and see some more psychobabble, some more of why I love Trump's nuts.
Incredibly limited powers over the economic scenarios in this city. But I'm agog with admiration for you. Well, admiration is not quite the right word. Gratitude, because you were the holy grail caller I was looking for, and your honesty is really, really refreshing. But it scares the hell out of me.
By this point, you've already heard 3 callers try to defend their reasons for backing Trump. None of them have managed it yet. But the next one is different. Because instead of dodging the question, he actually answers it. And what he says is more revealing than anything that's come before.
I don't think it's racist what he said to the 4 ladies in Congress there, in any way, shape or form. They're all Americans, and he's just pointing out that their disruptive activities, I mean, they're hardline socialists, mate. They're left-wing extremists, and they're trying to change American politics from within. And he's just pointing that out.
And what's he trying to do when he took over from Barack Obama? Was he trying to carry on doing politics exactly the same as Obama did, or was he trying to change it from within?
Well, Obama didn't successfully change it from within, so it's
not a trick question. Did Donald Trump seek to carry on conducting politics in America in a fashion identical to his predecessor, or did he seek to change it from within by becoming president?
No, it's not a trick question, and I'll say exactly what I just said again. Obama didn't change American society like he wanted to, so Donald Trump is just re-establishing American capitalism.
Pardon?
You heard.
Donald Trump is re-establishing American capitalism. 51 months of consecutive growth, all of which began with Obama.
No, Obama's taking credit for growth. That's absolute hogwash, and you know it.
Stuart, can you count?
Mate, you are in sympathy with these ladies in Congress. They're trying to transform the country
Stuart, you're
into
on the
a socialist
radio.
country. Don't interrupt me, mate. Don't interrupt me. You are on the side of these women because you would favour socialist society, a left-wing society as well.
Go on, mate. I'm not interrupting you. I'm waiting for you to say something sensible.
No, you just can't come back with anything. Mate, you're in sympathy with these women, and
Name
them.
Name them.
The media.
Name them.
Well, AOC, for a start.
What does that stand for?
Alexandria Occasional Cortex.
No. So you know all about their politics, you don't even know their names, and you're on national radio having your pants pulled down.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Omar, Presley.
Mate, you've got your phone out. You've got your phone out now.
And you noticed who he named? You notice he named 4 black women? You have to pay attention to what these folks what is really on their mind. This is not about politics, folks. This is about skin color. This is what this caller is saying, that these 4 black women are trying to disrupt American politics, not even knowing their names, not even giving a damn about their names. A cult. Hey there, Shar, how you doing? A cult is what they're attracted to. They will say anything in defense of their leader, because who spoke that more than anyone else? Trump. When he called out these 4 women of color. None of them mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene, that was in Congress for how many years and did nothing, was a distractor the entire time she was in Congress. Every bill that she tried to put up was either, as they say, tabled or didn't pass. I think she might have got 1 or 2 through. Let's talk about Lauren Boebert. What has she done other than be the star of a soft porn called Beetlejuice, where her and her boyfriend is out somewhere on the town getting felt up? Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about Jewish space lasers, that Donald Trump was not an insurrectionist, but they're talking about politics, trying to change politics from within. Anybody can argue with what I said about either one of those ladies just now. I'm not speaking out the side of my neck. I'm speaking actual and factual. Did we not hear Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about Jewish space lasers? You can go look up her record of what bills that she passed, or what bills that she tried to introduce to the United States. We also know that all of a sudden, from her humble beginnings of having a company, not saying that she didn't have some money before Congress, but how do you enrich yourself to the tune of millions of dollars? It's called insider trading. Is any of those 4 ladies that he just mentioned, is any of them involved in that?
You come on national radio, claiming that you know everything about their policy. So which policy do you think most demonstrates their socialist tendencies, Stuart?
High taxes beyond all belief, and ploughing that money into public services.
Mate, you can't have high taxes under socialism because everybody earns the same. So let's try again. Which policy do you think best espouses their socialist tendencies?
No, everyone earns the same after the socialist template's successful, which means destroying the middle class.
So they don't want socialism, then they want high taxes for high earners.
Are you telling me those women don't want socialism in America?
Stuart, I'm telling you, you don't even know their names. Stuart, you don't even know their names. Did you just say? Did you just say fifth column?
I knew you'd ask me.
Yes, but you looked it up on your phone. Stop interrupting. Yes, sorry, Stuart. Carry on.
Right, I knew you'd ask me their names because you couldn't come back with anything, so I looked on the screen on my phone, yes.
Why didn't you know their names before you rang in?
Because I just looked them up and researched them, mate, and I know exactly what...
Why didn't you know their names before you rang in, if you know it?
Right, so I can answer that. You know why? Because you don't do any research. You just listen. You just watch Fox News. You just watch your favorite commentator. That's why you don't do any research. The majority of you folks don't. Y'all just regurgitate and respout what you heard on your favorite newscaster or podcaster. You don't do any research. That's why you can't come in here with just anything. Not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world, but damn, at least I do a little research before I come in here. At least before I pick up the phone to call and say, you wrong about something, at least I got my ducks in a row. Because your boy Cellulite wanted people to hit his channel today. And I thought about it, Cell. I thought long and hard about it. But you know what? Discretion be the better part of valor.
Everything about their politics. Why do you think, theoretically, why do you think you might not know their names, but you know what they stand for politically?
Mate, I got their names up on the webpage.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I
knew you were going to ask me their names because you couldn't come back with a valid argument.
I already have. I've asked you to name one socialist policy that they support.
High tax.
That's not socialism.
It is socialism.
Okay, Stuart. What do you think socialism means?
Socialism is an ideology. You subscribe to it. Socialism.
What does it mean?
It's never been proved to work.
What does it mean, Stuart? For the record, I'm not a socialist, but tell me.
Look, mate, I'm in support of Donald Trump.
Yeah, I know you are.
Comments on,
and you like the racism, but what do you think? What do you think socialism means?
Look, you're not going to Wikipedia me out of this argument, mate.
I don't need to. I know what it means. Tell me what you think it means. I didn't say the word. You did. What does it mean?
It means collapse. And you know it. And you subscribe to it.
Go on. Socialism means collapse. You know it. Socialism.
Right. You can't help but laugh at these folks. They claim that they are smart and they can prove you wrong, but he couldn't even define what socialism is. Saying that AOC and these 3 other ladies that he mentioned was for high taxes. But actually, who's for higher taxes? Who these so-called tax cuts that Donald Trump placed, who are they really benefiting? Surely not the middle class. Surely not the working poor. Surely not the unemployed.
It means collapse. Yes. Do you want to say something? Do you want to expand on that, Stuart, at all?
Well, the socialist policies, mate, have never been proved to work.
So name a socialist policy, Stuart. We're back round the other side of the circle now. You can't define what it means, and you can't name a single socialist policy. What are you so angry about?
Well, I'm trying to actually speak, mate. You just constantly interrupting me and getting me to name things, right?
Yes, like a socialist policy or the meaning of socialism.
So this is what happens, you see.
I know.
A left-wing media commentator will not let someone speak when their opinion is against theirs.
What does socialism mean? You can't have an opinion about socialism if you don't know what it means. So what does it mean?
To me, personally?
No, you silly sausage. To everybody, not to you personally.
Right. Socialism is an ideology. It's a political system, and it does not work.
What does it mean?
What does it mean? Look, James.
Listen, his pride will not let him say that he don't know. His pride won't allow him, because he's now on the phone, that he's not quick enough to type it in and just read the fucking definition. His pride won't let him type in and see what socialism is. His pride. I don't know it, but let me type it in right quick, and let's talk about it that way. Some of y'all folks are so hell-bent of a defense of Donald Trump and his so-called policies that you would much rather make yourself look dumb. And for these 4 callers, that's all you did. Made yourself look dumb.
I phoned in support of Donald Trump.
I know.
His comments aren't racist. Those women are.
What does socialism mean,
America.
Stuart? What does socialism mean?
So this is what happens, you see. You get someone into a dead end. Socialism, I don't know the Wikipedia. You know, you're trying to get me Wikipedia me to death here.
No, just any meaning at all, Stuart. I didn't mention the word. It's 12 o'clock. I've been doing this topic for an hour. No one said socialism except you. What does it mean?
No, everyone that's phoned in has more or less been in support of the 4th columners there in America.
What does socialism mean, Stuart?
Right, to all your listeners, okay, as they are listening and nodding their head, the ones that are supporting what I'm saying is, socialism is a template that the 4 ladies in Congress are trying to bring into America. It doesn't work.
Stuart doesn't know what it means. Stuart hasn't got a clue what it... Stuart's on national radio condemning socialism and revealing he doesn't know what it means.
Okay, it's high taxes, it's healthcare for all that doesn't work or bankrupt the country. It is attacking big business.
Okay,
it's an incestuous relationship between big business and government.
Sweetheart. Listen, next time...
Patronising.
Wait a minute. Let me back up just a little bit. Make sure I catch what he said here. Hold on just a second. Let me go back just a little bit. Let me see.
It's healthcare for all that doesn't work or bankrupt the country.
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
Attacking big business.
Well, I don't live in Canada, but from what I understand, Canada is pretty sovereign. Now, correct me if I'm wrong for you folks that live in Canada, but don't y'all have healthcare for all? How many countries, how many modern countries, this is something that you're going to have to look up, but how many, as they call, civilized countries offer health care for all of their citizens? You'd be surprised of how many of them do. And you'll be surprised that the United States, one of the most richest countries in the world, leads the pack when it comes to their citizens not being healthy. That if you go to the hospital, a simple Band-Aid might cost you $1.50. An aspirin might cost you $6. When you go to the pharmacy, a medication that used to cost $3.85, now it's back to $300. All since Trump took office. But he's talking about AOC, as they call them, the Fab Four or whatever, wants to be a socialist country. But from what I see, universal health care works. If you have a society that's healthy, wouldn't that be better off? Wouldn't you be better? Great point there, HT Ball 1F. You took the budget from the military budget, you could give everybody in the United States some money and still have plenty. You could take everybody, you could pay every tuition for every child that graduated this year and last year, send them through college for 4 years and still have plenty of money in the budget, military budget. If you break it down to, you know how they like to break the pie, this color over here, if it was purple, purple will take up the majority of the pie when it comes to breaking it down to how the United States spends its money. Again, these are facts that you can go look up for yourself, folks.
It's an incestuous relationship between big business and government.
Sweetheart. Listen, next time.
Patronising, you see.
Of course I'm patronising you. You're a clown. You're on national radio condemning socialism, and you've been asked.
You're a clown.
No, you're a clown. No, you're a clown.
And you're just as bad as those women in Congress.
And you're just as bad. And my dad's bigger than your dad.
Here is what struck me about all 4 of these calls. Not one of them was really about policy. Alex couldn't name a single thing Trump had done, despite insisting his cards were on the table. The wall caller didn't realize the wall still wasn't built. Stewart spent an hour condemning socialism and never once managed to explain what it actually means. But it's the 4th caller that stays with you. He admitted, without any hesitation, that Trump is a liar and a racist. And that he supports him anyway. Because Trump frustrates someone he personally dislikes. O'Brien called him the Holy Grail caller. Because for once, somebody said exactly what was actually going on beneath all the policy talk. It was never about the wall. Never about the tariffs. Never about socialism. It comes down to who you've decided is on your side. And who you've decided is the enemy. That is the most honest and the most unsettling explanation of modern politics you will hear. This is the British Lens. Subscribe if that matters to you.
Now, again, that's from coming on that part of the world, from the British folks. They say it out loud. But you'll hear folks like Cellulite. You'll hear folks like Angry Man. And other folks of pigmentation say that no such thing as racism. But then you'll hear a caller in support of Donald Trump saying, yes, Trump is a racist. And I'm glad he is. No credence to black and brown people when they call out Trump for his obvious racist antics. But when someone else says it, and it happens to look like them, they try to sweep it up under the rug. Even in the defense of Donald Trump, he told y'all why most people defend Donald Trump. Because they think like him. They are him. Donald Trump is a manifestation of what racism is. If you have to put a picture next to it, it's Donald Trump. I said that in 2015, 2016, and I'll say it today. Donald Trump did not invent racism, but he sure brought it back to life. He made it cool, again, for folks to walk around and chastise black people. We thought it was funny when we was talking about the Karens. That was just a prelude of what white America, some folks, let me go ahead and use this disclaimer right now. What some white Americans thought they could get away with. Just walking up to any random black and brown person, any Asian person, anybody that did not look like them, white, Caucasian, Christian, Bible toting, shotgun habit in the trunk, American, something got to be wrong with you. I need to know why you're here. Started with the Karens. Then the Kens joined in. Then we got folks like Chud the Builder. That thought it was okay to just walk around chastising black folks. Heard Cellulite over there talking about all the money that was raised for Carmelo Anthony's defense. Nothing mentioned about Lily Gaddis. And because she lost her monetization to be able to use the N-word with impunity, how many of y'all racist folks went over there and gave her money? Or how about the white blonde lady that had the child in her arm, hurling racial slurs at an autistic black child? And because she got on air crying about the mean mail that she got, y'all protected her. Y'all sent her money, made sure that she had a new place to live at the tone of millions of dollars. Chud the Builder, the same way. Until he went around shooting somebody, y'all was cool with that. And now that he's made to be held to responsible for what he's doing, now all of a sudden, y'all First Amendment rights is in question. Not yours, his. Because as I said on several occasions, your rights end as far as you can stick your arm out. That's where your rights end. And again, the First Amendment does not give you the right to walk up to the average citizen and talk shit to them. That is not the First Amendment. That's not what it was designed for. Reread it. The Second Amendment was not for you, for the average person to have a gun in their house. It's for a well-regulated militia. The First Amendment is so that you be able to criticize your government without some kind of retribution. Not that you can just walk up to some random black person in the street and say, hey, he's chimping out. Nobody gives a damn, H.T. Baldwin, how those GoFundMe was spent. Nobody asked the question of what Lily Gaddis did with her money or how she came up from y'all suckers. P.T. Barnum told y'all about that. There's a sucker born every minute. All the white blonde-haired lady got to do is get on a podcast or a stream and cry, shed some crocodile tears, show a little side boob, show a little cleavage. And y'all Yassa Boston, as my man say, Sambo soldiers. And sweet body, probably pure bed sympathizers will come to her rescue with y'all's money. You deserve this. If I can do anything else for you, just let me know. And get mad when somebody call you out for it.
And I'll see you in the next one.
And that's that, folks. That kind of wraps up on the Trump supporters. So let's move on to the next one here. Again, we just had Juneteenth. And I meant to talk about this the other day, but I was kind of busy doing something, so I couldn't get to the Juneteenth thing. But I want y'all to understand something. Us as black people, they keep telling you that your vote is unimportant. They keep telling us that our heritage is unimportant. But yet, they want us to be mindful of their heritage. They always want to holler about the rebel flag. It's about their ancestors and the blood and the guts that their ancestors shed. How they came over to this country with nothing and forged a life for themselves. That's what you usually hear the racists say. Well, how about those folks that was brought over here with nothing? And when you couldn't keep them in bondage anymore, you gave them nothing. Turned them out like cattle. You're free. Freedom is just, as Janis Joplin say, freedom is just another word for nothing else to lose. Y'all remember that song? Freedom's just another word for nothing else to lose. Now, I want y'all to look at this elected statesman talking about Juneteenth. Listen to this.
Celebrations. A debate over the holiday is taking center stage in Cabarrus County.
I don't support it because it is based on a lie. People were not set free by the Emancipation Proclamation.
During Monday's county
based on a lie. See, this is what I'm talking about. When you allow folks to get up and say anything, y'all heard the gasps. Wait a minute. Y'all heard the gasp in the audience? Listen again.
Commissioners meeting, Commissioner Larry Pittman cast the lone vote against a resolution recognizing Juneteenth. Pittman argues the holiday should not be celebrated in June, but in December instead.
8 months after the war was over and Lincoln was dead.
A debate over the holiday is taking center stage in Cabarrus County.
I don't support it because it is based on a lie. People were not set free by the Emancipation Proclamation.
During Monday's county commissioners meeting, Commissioner Larry Pittman cast the lone vote against a resolution recognizing Juneteenth. Pittman argues the holiday should not be celebrated in June.
Cast a lone vote against the America's resolutions to make a proclamation that say on June 19th in 1865, somebody rode into town and told the other slave, I wish it was that damn simple. I really wish it was that simple, that all somebody had to do was ride into town and tell all the black folks, hey, y'all free. Do you think they went up to the individual black people that was enslaved at that time, and say, hey, you ain't got to work on this farm no more? Or you think that they passed it on to the slaveholders? So, do you think the slaveholders ran back to the plantations and said, hey, we just got word that y'all free. Go on about your business. Y'all think that's how it happened? Really? Listen to him.
But in December instead.
8 months after the war was over and Lincoln was dead.
See, this is my argument for working tomorrow. Okay, didn't I tell y'all earlier people don't really understand or know what Juneteenth is? See, it's easy to take off for.
Now, you wonder why I use Charlemagne the God for this? Because I stumped just to show you how two-faced some folks can be. To show you how two-faced some folks can be. You want to holler about Juneteenth, but then you want Obama to get in the mud with Trump. Listen to him.
4th of July, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, President's Day. Folks understand the historical context of those days. People do not quite grasp the historical context or understand the historical context of Juneteenth yet. And if we, as one of the premier black radio shows in the world, may I say the premier black radio show in the world, one of the premier radio shows in the world, period, The Breakfast Club, have the blessing of being on air, we should be here tomorrow to celebrate Juneteenth and let folks know exactly what Juneteenth is. See, Larry Pittman is misinformed. He says Juneteenth was based on a lie because slavery had not ended nationwide on June 19th, 1865, and he suggests recognition should focus on the ratification of the 13th Amendment instead. Let's listen to his comments in full. They were interesting.
I want to address this thing about Juneteenth. I don't support it because it is based on a lie. True history is important, not what an elitist point of view forces to be taught in schools and ignores the real truth of what happened. And my son, hey, it is not your turn, sir. My son graduated from Wingate University with a degree in history. And I've talked to him about some of these things, and from his studies, he confirms to me exactly what I've learned by going beyond textbooks and looking at other sources. A lot of these...
Like what? Going beyond textbook, and like what? Other sources would be what? Word of mouth? Elitist point of view, right. Yeah, against what? What? Either an event happened or it didn't. Either Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed all the slaves, or he didn't. Either the 13th Amendment was ratified or it wasn't. What you're trying to do with this, you are the elitist, sir. It would have been easy for you to just put your John Hancock, as they said, on that and be done with it. But you, again, like Charlemagne the God, you have to prove to how right you are by showing how wrong you are. Historical content is historical content. You can't change it because you can't go back in time and change anything that already happened. All you can do now at your position is try and distort it. And this is exactly what you're trying to do. Distort it with facts, but those facts don't line up the way that you want them to.
Things I learned by doing that when I was a kid, and it makes me sick what passes for history that is falsehood. And I will not just sit by and take it. I guess I've said enough.
Yeah, you have.
You've said enough, boy.
Wow. See what I mean? See what I mean? Even if they can't help themselves. We know what that meant. Coming from him, we know exactly what that meant. We knew exactly what that meant. He's not against Juneteenth. He's against black folks. He don't like black people. He think black people are beneath them. Who are you, boy, to have a holiday honoring the fact that you folks were free? How dare y'all celebrate that? Not under my watch, it won't happen. That's what he said, boy.
What do you mean, boy? I mean, you act immature.
Commissioner Wortman.
All right, so listen. Larry Pittman's criticism rests on the argument that Juneteenth is not the precise date slavery legally ended everywhere. Larry. Okay, big Larry. All right. That criticism misses the whole point. Juneteenth commemorates a significant milestone in the struggle for freedom, not a claim that slavery ended universally on that exact date. Okay, June 19th, 1865 was a milestone, all right? It's like ringing the bell in the cancer center. When you ring a bell in the cancer center, it traditionally signifies the end of a phase of active treatment, all right? Like such as completing chemotherapy or radiation, rather than a guarantee that the cancer is completely gone forever. But ringing the bell is a milestone, and you should let people celebrate their milestones, okay? Hey, Larry, here's some irony, okay? Here's some irony that many historians point out. Americans celebrate the 4th of July as Independence Day, even though independence was not fully secured on July 4th, 1776, and many people...
And again, even when you don't like somebody, like I say, even the sun shine on a dog ass if he hold it up long enough. So sometimes, even though I don't agree with Charlemagne the God, in this case, he's absolutely right. And that's why I decided to use this clip. Because if you did your research, the very same thing that you were up there complaining about is the very same thing that should be talked about in the United States. The 4th of July was not actual Independence Day. That's the day that you folks choose to do it. No other way. That's right. He knew exactly what he meant when he said, boy. Don't fool yourself. Don't try and clean it up. Stand on your disrespect. And that's what Obama was talking about. These keyboard warriors, these folks that are in public that figure they can say anything because they know if you snap back on them, that's just a viral moment. And that just gets their word spread out a little bit farther. Obama understands that. Anything that he says about Trump will make the news. It will go viral. Why placate to it?
Remained enslaved afterward. Okay, holidays often commemorate symbolic milestones rather than the final completion of historical processes, and that's okay. And this, my friends, this is why reading and history classes matter. Okay, Larry Pittman voted against a resolution recognizing Juneteenth because he says the holiday is based on a lie, since slavery didn't end everywhere on June 19th, 1865. But sir, nobody said it did. Right? The point of Juneteenth isn't that slavery, everywhere magically vanished on June 19th. The point is that enslaved people in Texas finally learned they were free. Okay, it commemorates delayed justice. All right, it celebrates liberation. It's symbolism of what was to come. Also, Larry, I just want you to know, if we canceled every holiday because it wasn't 100% historically precise, we'd have to cancel Columbus Day. Okay, Thanksgiving, Christmas, that's not Jesus' birthday. All right.
Okay, that's enough on that. But all valid points. If we was to criticize and critique every holiday and how the United States celebrates it, there'd be a whole lot of holidays that we wouldn't be celebrating. Columbus Day would be one of them. Christmas, we wouldn't be celebrating it on December 25th. We'd be celebrating it during one of the warmer months, because we now know that according to the biblical scriptures that, is you my mama? What you mean? Am I your mama? John R. 2025. What you mean? Am I your mama? Do I sound like your mama? What was you coming here and ask that? Did you two also just subscribe to my channel just to ask me whether I'm your mama? You don't know where she at? Would you like me to help her find her? I can tell you where you don't have to look, here, because your mama ain't here. Now, she might be in the clouds. I don't know. What's your mama's name? Would you like me to ask, is your mama in the clouds? Is John R.'s mama in the clouds? If you are, please acknowledge that your son is at the reception area looking for you. The fuck? Is you my mama? Of course not. Do I sound like a woman in any way, shape, or form? If I do, something wrong with you, John. But then anyway, that's enough of that. Let's move on to our next thing here, folks. Let's move on to our next one. I proved my point with Charlemagne the God. Again, y'all better watch for them double agents. 1 minute they're for you, and the next minute they're against you. Ain't that right, John? 1 minute they're for you, next minute they're against you. Hey there, L Boogie, how you doing? How you doing? Now, next thing we're going to talk about, folks, before we get to our final thing I got to say, it's going to be quite triggering for a lot of folks. So, L Boogie, I know how you are about things like the final thing, but anyway, of course, in the news right now, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's talking about the young Carmelo Anthony, and that he got 35 years for, what he did to Austin Metcalf. A lot of people say that the punishment doesn't fit the crime. A lot of people say there was a whole lot of questions about even the video that we saw. A lot of people said it was doctored. A lot of people say this. A lot of people said that. But talking to some folks behind the scenes, one of the questions that a couple of us came up to was with all these prominent lawyers and all these well-to-do people, sports figures and all that, if y'all believe that, put your money where your mouth at. What? Move in silence. And if you believe young Carmelo Anthony had an improper defense, you as a prominent lawyer, step up to the plate, pro bono. You as a prominent, dare I say, politician or sports figure, writer, actor, where your money at? Y'all make private donations all the time. They don't got to know, because as soon as somebody find out that somebody's giving Carmelo Anthony some money, first thing they're going to say is the parents is using the money to buy luxury shit. Ain't that right, L Boogie? Again, I'm the main, what's that? I'm an infidel. Listen, I know you're trying to make light of it, but it's simple things like that. Simple things like the Latino communities, of course, no disrespect, but you see a lot of them working in the service industry, hotels. Those are usually the maids that come to do the turn down service for you. They clean up your room after you check, before you check in, and when you check out. You see them usually around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning as you getting ready to leave or check out or something. You see them running around the hotels with the little cars. How do I know? Because I was in the service industry for quite some time, and I worked quite well with my Latin brothers, my Latin sisters, my Puerto Rican brothers, my Puerto Rican sisters, my Filipino, especially in San Francisco. So I can imagine what you're talking about. I know maybe you try to say it as kind of a joke or something like that, but actual and factual though. Even the hotel industry is feeling the sting of this so-called immigration thing. When you say so, I am an infidel. I don't know why you call yourself that, infidel. Okay. But let's go to this next one here. Let's talk about Carmelo Anthony.
Defense attorneys are joining Carmelo Carmelo Anthony's legal team pro bono following his murder conviction and 35-year prison sentence for stabbing and killing Austin Metcalf. His new legal team writing, quote, "Our appellate team has been retained following the conviction to conduct a fresh independent review of the trial record. Our responsibility is to determine whether a legal error occurred and to ensure that every issue supported by the record is fully and vigorously presented on appeal. The appellate process exists for precisely this purpose." Project 21 author and co-chair.
Do we understand that? Hey, Angelica, how you doing? How you doing? Or as they affectionately call you, Jelly, how you doing? Good to see you. But again, if you go over to Cellulite's podcast, if you go over to Angry Man's podcast, they don't report it like this. They won't tell you that Carmelo Anthony is entitled to the best defense that he could possibly get. They won't tell you that he's entitled to at least one appeal. They won't tell you that at all. But what they will tell you is Carmelo Anthony's going to happen to him in jail. That's going to happen to him in jail. He going to be somebody's girlfriend in jail. And they got the nerve to call themselves pillars of the community. When you make videos of this man switching, or this kid switching, acting feminine, and you call yourself, as they say, a content creator. No, as they called you back as they called them back in them days, you're a muckraker. That's called yellow journalism. What else do I need, Timothy? He said, "This is all I got. What else do I need?" Like what? What do I need, Timothy? What do I need?
Horace Cooper joins me now. Horace, he's bringing in heavy hitters from the NAACP along with a prominent appellate specialist. Will it work?
Well, it depends on what the goal is. If the goal is actually to get this sentence overturned, I think it's highly, highly unlikely. However, if the real purpose is to create racial friction and engage.
How is that? See, again, you got to be careful of who looks like you and think they're for you. Why is Carmelo Anthony look at something that he has a legal right to, an appeal? Why would you get on a national news, Fox News? Again, that's why you got to watch the enemy. You got to know what they're saying and say that by looking to see if anything was in his case that is possibly could be overturned or retried for. How is it racial friction? Exactly, Angelica. How is it? How is it racial friction, sir? Another, what my man called him, a Sambo soldier going over on Fox News, speaking to that crowd.
In a publicity campaign that creates the impression that here in Texas, people aren't able to get along well and that we have major racial conflicts. That could be effective.
Now, again, hey, what's up there, Sock Passe? How you doing? Good to see you. If Texas, and that particular part of Texas, was not known for racial biases, what are we talking about? It's obvious that you can go back to that part of Texas where that happened at and find all kind of cases to where race played the major outcome to what happened. Just go look it up for yourself. You don't got to believe anything that I said. Who's that came in and said, that's all you got? Timothy, what else do I need? Again, it's somebody else that decided that when I put it on subscriber mode only, you were so hell-bent on coming in and saying something negative to me, you could not resist pushing that subscriber button. That's like what do you call that? That's like a criminal. You know, understand? A criminal, just because a door is locked, that don't stop a criminal from coming in. He's just going to break the lock. So when you put subscriber mode only, that don't stop the trolls from coming in. They'll just subscribe to you long enough to say something, to come in here with a nasty gram.
You've got the Benjamin Crump team working here. You've got the Texas, the president, Gary Bledsoe of the NAACP. You got people here who are capable of using a platform to create a narrative. And that's why it's so...
And Jeff Metcalf didn't create a narrative by calling Carmelo Anthony a watermelon felon. He didn't create that, right? He didn't create the original reason why this turned into a racial thing when some guy, I forgot his name, was on the phone with Jeff Metcalf. And this is why I gave him grace, because he denounced the white guy that was on the phone with him trying to stoke racial epithets. Say it again, El Boogie. He too is pushing a narrative. It just depends on what side you're on. If you're on the side, dare I say this, if you're on his side, you're agreeing with everything he's saying right now. Am I right? If you're on the way of thinking, if you watch Fox News on a regular basis, you think this guy is right. You would go back to your family and say, see, even the black guy thinks that way. That's why we got to watch these Sambo soldiers.
Important that the judge recently released some of the video from the trial so that people could see for themselves just how shallow the claims are that this trial was a miscarriage of justice.
Let's break down your claims in terms.
Okay, if it was shallow, why would all these prominent folks take the time to do it pro bono? Why would these folks waste their time if they thought this conviction was almost impossible to overturn? And what makes you think I would, for Ben Crump and the rest of them, if I heard you say that, I would have something to say to you. What makes you think that the only thing I do is stoke racial tension by defending someone that he has a constitutional right to? Why would you go on a major platform and say, because I'm taking this case, I'm good at stoking racial, I'm trying to invoke or stoke racial biases because I'm black? Hey there, Brownie Ellie. Thank you very much. Be careful and safe out there. Always good to see you in the front row.
Let's start with the law. They can't re-argue the facts on appeal. You just can't do that. That's not how appellate process works. And this judge, to your point, really ran a tight ship throughout this case, so there's not a lot of error potentially to attack there. So besides arguing that there were no black jurors, what else is there? Do you see a potential Hail Mary from his team?
Now, this Batson challenge is really all that they have, but it gives them the ability to make regular pronouncements, talk in the public, and they may find some particular extraneous incident that they can use out of context. But you said it right. If we were sitting in my classroom, you'd get the gold star. The trial is already happened, and the appeals courts are only going to review the law. They're not triers of fact. You can't introduce new evidence, and the way this trial ended up being carried out, the judge was very careful to make sure that he didn't leave opportunities for this case to be set aside.
That's not up to the judge, sir. The judge does not make sure that there's opportunities for no appeal. That is up to the lawyer, the defense. from what I understand, anytime that defense lawyer objects to something, that is duly noted. That is contemporaneous notes that he could go back on and make sure, okay, I said this, I put this objection in for a reason. It may not, the judge will say overrule or sustain. If it's handled in the courtroom, then there's no reason for that to go on appeals. But a lot of the stuff that if this lawyer did his due diligence, which again, that's part of this new defense team, because they felt that he did not do all he could do in the defense of Carmelo Anthony. Again, I'm not here to relitigate or retry the case. That's not up for me. The appellate system is going to do it. If all you folks that always want to scream about the Constitution, why are you trying to deny this man his constitutional right? What's good for Judd the Builder is not good for Carmelo Anthony. What was good for Jeffrey Dahmer is not good for Carmelo Anthony. What's good for Daniel Penny is not good for Carmelo Anthony. What's good for Daniel Chow is not good for Carmelo Anthony. Is that what we're saying? Y'all want to focus on the fact that there was no black jurors. That's just one thing. I don't think that this new so-called super team that they put together, I don't think that's going to be their only focus. That there was no black jurors. But you get these Sambo soldiers, these Yazza bosses, to get on over here and say, see, even black folks think that way. All skin folks ain't kin folks. And where'd you get that hairdo from? Where'd you get that crop top from? Where'd you get that? You ain't got a 4-head, you got a 6-head, sir. We'll listen to a little bit more of this before we move into our final clip of the evening.
Quickly, the father of the victim telling Will Cain that the family of Carmelo Anthony wasn't there for the victim impact statements. Quote, they left that poor child up there by himself as soon as that verdict was read. What does that say to you about the ulterior motive?
Oh, he's a child when it benefits them. But he's a murderer when it benefits them as well. When you can talk shit about the parents, he's a child that was abandoned by his parents. But y'all want this same child to spend 35 years in jail. Let it make sense. Let it make sense, the kind of reporting that we see on mainstream TV. Let it make sense.
Motive with this appeal and with the case overall to use this tragedy, to your point, to gin up racial tensions. About 20 seconds to you, Horace.
A young man is going to be sent away for 35 years. It would be great if his family came together, acknowledged what happened, apologized to the Metcalf family, and apologized to the nation. Instead, it looks like a bunch of racial hustlers are trying to divide us. I hope it doesn't succeed.
It is a sad case. There are no winners here.
Racial hustlers. This one case that made the public eye. Racial hustlers is what he called them. Y'all heard that, right? Racial hustlers. Well, let's talk about race. And let's talk about our last case, El Bookie. Like I said, this next case here, you might not want to, if you're sensitive, you gotta, if you have what do you call that? Empathy, sympathy. You don't like hearing bad things, you might not want to listen to this next clip. You remember what he said, stoking racial tensions, right? Apologize to the nation, right? Who's going to apologize for this, sir?
Miller. She's 27 years old from Michigan. And I'm wondering how many of my people have heard her story. She came down here. She's from Michigan. She came down to the 305 to Gwen Cherry Park, Memorial Park, to celebrate Juneteenth. Now, her body was found hanging from a tree on the 18th. And I'm wondering how many of my people have heard her story, because her people is saying that no news media is covering this and nobody is reporting on this. I've only seen,
like I said yesterday when I posted this, and shout out to ABT and the crew over there at Bomb Cherry. Y'all made me aware of this. That's why I saved this for last. Of all the things you so-called content creators could be talking about, why you ain't mention this? Why we ain't mentioning the fact that a young black lady in the prime of her life during Juneteenth was found hanging from a tree? Cellulite, raw beef. Since you care so much about black women and all you other black female content creators, why we ain't talking about this? Why isn't this bombing your timeline? Because there's no money in it. That's why. Because you would have to point out the nastiness of the United States of America. You would have to point out that white supremacy still exists in the United States of America. You'll still have to point out that some people are not under the idea that all people are created free. And some of y'all actually believe that this is something new. Well, if you go back to Reconstruction, if you go back to the 1960s, on up into the 1970s, to the 1980s, like I said in my other stream, all the way up to 1998 with James Byrd, you know that this is nothing new. And maybe that's why it's not reported, because it is nothing new. It's par for the course. The 4 little girls that got blowed up at the church, sicking the dogs on teenagers because they wanted to be in a lunch counter, or unaliving some folks in Meridian, Mississippi, because they wanted black people to have their fair voice, or gunning someone down in their yard in front of their children. Or just picket some random black folk off the street, like my friend Carl Williams, 8 years old, made the mistake of being outside after the red light came on. 3 days later, they find Carl's body, stripped off his clothes, hands tied to a bicycle handlebar, castrated. Now you tell me what someone that's 8 years old could possibly do to hurt you. So I understand what this family is going through, because I've had to live with that since I was 8 years old. The fact that someone, because they saw my friend outside, I've lived with that my entire life. Still don't know to this day who did it. No investigation, no nothing. Just chalked it up as another black body gone.
like 2 or 3 creators talk about this topic, and I'm wondering why is nobody spreading a word, and why is her story not being heard? If you have heard about this, let me know in the comments. If you have not heard about this story, also let me know in the comments. Rest in peace to this baby, Forever 27. I have no words, y'all.
All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises due to the Most High. And again, I will share her picture. 27-year-old Tana Nicole Miller, who was found allegedly from the little bit of information that I can gather about it, on June 18th, across the street from Gwen Cherry Park, and that is in the Miami-Dade County area. Now, as you heard the lady say, reports say that she is from Michigan, and she came down to celebrate.
Right. Let me guess. Like the black kid that drove his truck all the way down to North Carolina, Hendersonville. Like this young lady that came down to celebration. Like Sandra Bland that was moving to a new part of the country for a new job. Like the young lady that was playing video games with her nephew. One of y'all Sambo soldiers will try and disgrace her. One of y'all will talk about her hair. One of y'all will talk about her body count. One of y'all will say something to disparage the mere fact that this young lady's life was taken from her for absolutely nothing. Some of y'all will even go so low to say it's maybe she was trying to get away from her white zaddy. Because the last young lady that was killed over another part of the world, y'all did everything y'all possibly could to put the blame on her. Who volunteers to be murdered? Anybody?
Great Juneteenth with, I guess some friends or family. I'm not sure how she got there, but nevertheless, it has been reported that she was found hanged in across the street from a park. I have not been able to find any credible news or articles about it. Now,
of course, you got to go to the local news report or check out the 6 o'clock news, because it probably played for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds at best. Another sad story coming out of Gwinnett County. Another sad story coming out of Charleston County. Another sad story coming out of Savannah County, or whatever county it was. There was another sad story about how someone got unalived, but they always will claim, well, you guys don't do nothing about black on black crime. That's your next argument when we try to point out there's such thing as people still killing people because of their color. But y'all will come with this black on black crime. I'll let the brother speak a little bit more.
The only thing I have found is from Facebook posts. And YouTube, a few YouTube sources, but nobody is talking about this. I guess everybody was caught up in the celebration of the Juneteenth festival. Now, they're saying that she was found on June 18th. And if I'm not mistaken, June 19th, which is Juneteenth, was a Friday. And
okay,
so
Jack Baker, let me go ahead and answer your question like this. I think if you look throughout history, you will find, regardless of the hue of the people, the Romans was fighting who? The Spartans. I don't think any do we ask that same question of white people? Of course, there was warring factions and tribes over in, as they call it, the motherland, of course. Just like there was warring factions and tribes with Genghis Khan and his crew. What about the Vikings and their crew? They didn't only just fight black folks, sir. Wouldn't you agree? Usually the people that you end up fighting is the people that are closest to you, or some land that you're trying to conquer that's usually close enough to you to where you can maintain its whatever you're trying to do to it, annex it or whatever. Let's see. I saw a guy yesterday tried to say that yesterday. Well, again, I mean, is it a fair question? If you would have said that, what do I think about overall of of people fighting each other, and that would have been my answer either way. I don't think, again, too many people try to put a color emphasis on warring factions. And again, the Dahomey tribe against the the Zulus. The Zulus and other tribes in Africa have long gone, had long fights, long before we could even probably document it, that they had fights against each other. I'm sure the folks in Australia had fights against each other, just as folks in Europe had fights against each other. Absolutely, it works against the North Koreans and the South Koreans. It works against the some of the Japanese and the not the Japanese, but the Taiwanese people. So to try and restrict warring factions to just the color to make a point, I think is unfair, because we're all guilty of it, regardless of a hue. Wouldn't you agree, Jack?
I don't think the celebrations in most towns, they didn't happen till that Friday or Saturday. So she was found before the celebrations even occurred. Now, of course, we know a lot of people do not like the fact that we celebrate June 15th, or excuse me, Juneteenth. And, I really don't like the concept either, but we'll get into another video. But this may, once again, be one of those dog whistles that they talk about, or one of those symbolic sacrifices to combat the energy that melanin people have of unity and bringing each other together and honoring our heritage, who we were, the struggles that we have survived, the trials that we have overcome, and the victories that we have obtained since that time. And so a lot of people, when these things happen, they try to secretly bring that demonic energy out by doing things like that in secret. Like you won't hear no news stories talk about it. I think the police have came out, and their story, that it is self-unalivement. But we all know throughout history, it's been studied, psychologists, that Black people, if they did want to unalive themselves, they will not do it in this manner. And so the question is, who did it, when, where, and how did they get away with it? Now, it's not saying any particular time that she was found, but of course, these days everywhere has cameras.
And again, he's absolutely right with that. These days, everything has camera. So we don't need that. We know now that even if you walk into a grocery store, a convenience store, if you're sitting at a stoplight, you're subject to be on camera. It's funny how when they're trying to convict you of something, or they're trying to send you that ticket because you either ran through a speeding light or you were speeding, it's funny how they can find you. It's funny how we got this program called the First 48, but it don't never work too well. Only works on TV. Well, Joseph, I thank you for the blessings in here, but well, again, Jack, before we get out of here, I'll just say this: is the game being played to perfection? I don't think it is. And why I say it is because I still think the people that started the game still have a head start. They still create, they still own, and they still are in control of the most valuable pieces on the board. They still own Park Place. They still own Boardwalk. They still have hotels at every strategic part of the board. There's only so many numbers on the dice. So chances are, when you throw your dice down and you roll them across that board, you're going to land into something that's either going to break you or make you strike up a deal to hopefully that they don't eliminate you from the game. So again, with that, folks, things that should be in the news, unlike this, we get nothing about. But we saw in my last stream to where some Chinese kid decided to burn a cross somewhere, and that made major headlines. Absolutely, Jack. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Hopefully you can make it to Baltic or some of them places that ain't so cheap. Skid Row, you know, that's on the Monopoly board. Baltic place. What's that? Mediterranean, whatever it is. But again, folks, you know, that made national headlines. Someone intentionally setting a cross on fire and then trying to explain. The news reporters sought him out for him to explain why he did it. And then tried to tell us that he didn't understand the historical content to it. He didn't understand why people was in such disarray or so mad about the fact that you was burning the cross in broad daylight and felt that emboldened to do it. And daylight, folks, this wasn't a night. This was daylight, knowing that there's cameras all over the world. But the case of somebody really getting strung up, so to speak, barely made the 6 o'clock news. If it wasn't for us folks on the internet, a lot of information wouldn't be passed around like it is. So again, folks, I appreciate every time somebody sends me something of interest. I get a lot of bullshit. I get a lot of clips of people wanting me to talk about this and talk about that. Now, no, thank you. This is important. What happened to this young lady? Or would it just be another part of the news cycle? Why are we talking about this? Why? Because it doesn't draw super chats. It doesn't draw cash apps. Or does it because it pulls at your humanity? Which one? Or does it make you realize that the United States is not the great country that we thought it was? Someone said that everybody, black person in the United States should leave. Do you know the devastating impact that if every black person decided to pick up and leave the United States? So for those of you who say that the Back to Africa movement is in full effect, send me a ticket. Make sure I got all my provisions. Since y'all want all black people to go back to Africa, make it happen. Y'all want this country great again? You can have it. But help me get out of it. Or is it the fact that at my age and the years that I've spent here, I've earned the right to be here? I fought for the right to be here. With that, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, which is Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you check out Classic R&B Jams, DJ Dreadhead Said, and then DJ Ed a little bit later on. DJ Dreadhead Said with the Our House radio show. And then right after that, it's the Soulful House Mix with DJ Ed. Y'all check him out. If you're them house heads, it's the place to be. 5 great hours of some great house music. So y'all check it out, Classic R&B Jam. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in and allowing me to spend this last 2.5 hours with you. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the comments. And again, I think I might keep it on subscriber mode only when I go live from now on. Number one, it keeps down the riffraff. And those of you that want to have general conversation, like Jack, thank you so very much. L Boogie, always a pleasure. Joseph, thank you so very much. Who else we had in here? Candy Cane Lane, appreciate you. Great stream. I was in the crowd the other night. It was a little bit, listen, Candy Cane, you're right, you do not have a poker face. No, ma'am. When that young lady was talking last night, we'll just leave it at that. Sock Passe, Brownie Ellie, always looking good on camera. Thank you so very much. Who else we got? Sharp Willie, of course, as I call him, my right hand. Angelica, thank you so very much. Jelly, like they say, that got to be jelly because jam don't shake like that. I ain't mad with you. Everybody else, 504, Amanda, for all those folks, HT Ball 1, I'll be tuning in a little bit later on. Listen to you do your thing there, good brother. Like I said, folks, if you're looking for a transition in house music, you got to check out my man, HT Ball 1, tonight at 8 p.m. Excuse me, that's 11 p.m. Eastern. That's right, Candy Cane. You just can't. Your facial expressions tell on you. If you ever want to play poker, let me know. Bring all your money because I can get it. I'll get all your money. I'll get all your money. You know what I'm talking about, El Boogie? We'll get all her money. She ain't got nothing but a couple of ducks. She ain't smiling. Ooh, she got 3 kings. I'm gonna throw this hand in. Chu Yang, thank you so very much for coming in again, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank y'all so very much. Again, this coming up this weekend, I will be doing a piece on the Heritage Foundation, namely the leader of the Heritage Foundation. So if y'all want to tune in for that, I really do appreciate it. Other than that, you can catch me live on the air, Classic R&B Jams, every Sunday and Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Till then, be safe. Remember, grace a day costs y'all absolutely nothing, folks. Say hello to someone. Might change the way they're thinking. Might change the way they're thinking. You never know. You walk past and don't say hello.
Look, all you motherfuckers been snitching for him and shit. Well, now you standing up in here and goddamn it talking about preach it, preacher, preach it, preacher. Fuck that nigga. Fuck that. I'm gonna shoot your ass too, motherfucker. Keep going. You gonna get shot too, nigga. You gonna get shot. God bless the fool, goddammit. God bless the fool. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna end this goddamn thing. Look, where's that goddamn money bowl at? Who got that money bowl? We taking that money right now before you leave this bitch. We ain't leaving out here for free, motherfucker. Yeah. Y'all know the motherfucker ain't no good. You want, look,